Hello everybody, welcome to this instruction video. In this video I'd like to show you part 1 of Baby Elements. Baby Elements has been designed by Sandra Kaya from Hooks and Yarn. In the video description you'll find a link to the written pattern. For part 1 we're using Scheepjes Soft Fun White, that's specific for the white lines you see here, as well as this project as a whole requires 4 colors of Scheepjes Callista. For part 1 I'm using a yellow and a green yarn. My colors are on my blog, I'll have a link to that in the video description as well. I'm using a 4.5mm hook for part 1 and I'll take you step by step through all the rounds that make up this part. Thank you for watching and I hope it's a useful video for you. Round 1. For round 1 I'm going to use a 4.5mm hook and we're using color 1. I'm going to start with making a slip knot, putting that knot on my hook. So color 1 with the 4.5 hook, chain 4, 2, 3, 4 and close on the first chain with a slip stitch, and that makes round 1. In round 2 we're going to be working in the ring we just made. Chain 2, this is your first double crochet. If you want you can also do a chain 3 here if your tension is different. Then in the ring work a double and really make sure you're in that little hole there. Let's chain double crochet. So now you have 2 doubles. That chain 2 counts as a double. Chain 2. And this is a corner. And then in the ring work again 2 doubles. So 1 double and the second double crochet. Chain 2. Another corner. 2 doubles. You're going to do this until you have 4 edges. And 2. I've now got, see I've got 3 edges, so I need 1 more. Chain 2. And my yarn just bounced away. 2 doubles, still working in the ring. And then finishing with the chain 2. That's for your last corner. And they're going to close on the top of the chain 2 here with a slip stitch. There you go. And you can now cut your yarn and we're going to use a new color in the next round. This is how you close with a slip stitch. If you want you could also close here with an invisible join. So I'm just going to undo this and show you how to do that join, just in case you want to. You can always have the choice to close with a slip stitch or with an invisible join. I'm just going to cut my yarn. And to close with the invisible join, you open up this loop, and then I'm going to take a needle. Now I'm going to use a needle, but if you want, you could actually do this with a hook. But I'll show you with my needle. So I'm just going to thread this on. And now we're going to go through the double crochet stitches. So this is the chain 2 and we're going to be making a hat on top of this chain 2. So I'm going to go through that double crochet, through that entire stitch, and then come back into the chain 2 here. See, that's the second chain stitch there. Do you see there where I'm at? And then you can just kind of pull this a little tight, like so, and now you've joined this with an invisible join. I'm going to work away this yarn tail and then we're ready for round 3. Round 3, I have the white Soft Fun yarn on my hook and we're going to start in any chain 2 corner space. To start in that corner with a standing double crochet. So I've got the slip knot on my hook, just going to yarn over and hold on to that. Then in that chain space work a double crochet. We're now going to come down into the ring we worked and work a treble here. So in this ring, from round 1, we're going to work treble, and while we do so we're going to make sure that chain 2 from the corner is to the back. So through there, going to work a treble. Twice over, and then in there you're just going to have to kind of fold your work, make sure that chain 2 loop is to the back. Grab the yarn, as you see I'm in the ring there, and then work the treble. Now come back up to the chain 2 space to the back here and work a double in there. That's 1/2 of your corner worked. Chain 2, the chain 2 here is of course your next corner space. And then again, I'm going to repeat what we just did with the double, the treble and the double. So there's a double crochet. Again, through this next to where you have the treble, you're going to work another treble, so twice over. So come back, fold your work through that space, through the hole from round 1, making sure you leave the chain 2 space to the back. 1, 2, 3 for the treble, and then come back up to the chain 2 space and work a double in that space. This here is a granny corner that we're going to be working many of. So it's a double, treble, double, chain 2, a double, treble, double. This we're going to repeat in all 4 corners here. So we're going to skip these 2 trebles, those 2 doubles, we're going to skip those and then go to the next space and work that again. I'm going to show you the corner once more, and then I'll skip these 2 and show you how to do the join. So in the corner, work a double. Sorry, that just went a little wrong. And again, a double. Then fold your work here to get into that chain circle there from round 1, like so, with the treble. Then come back up again in the chain 2 space and work a double there. Your work is still a little small, so it's a bit fiddly, but as it gets bigger it'll become easier. I'm just going to pull on my closing here, and there we go, because I haven't worked away the yarn thread from the invisible join yet. So that's 1/2 of the corner, chain 2, and then in the same space work again a double, so double crochet in that corner, twice over, so a treble again here in the circle from round 1 and right next to the one you already have. So it is a little cramped in there. And then in the back, in the chain 2 space in the back, another double. So you can see now I've done 2 corners. So the next 2 corners do the same, so it's a double, treble here in the hole from round 1, another double, chain 2, double, treble, double, repeat here. And after you've done that last double, I'll just show you how to join this round. I've now done all 4 corners, just need to close on the first stitch. Again, you can do 2 things, you can close with a slip stitch or with an invisible join. Let me first show you the slip stitch. So here's the standing double crochet. So go through the top of that stitch and then close with a slip stitch. There, and then you can cut your yarn. So that's how to close with a slip stitch on the standing double crochet. If you prefer an invisible join, I'm just going to tuck that out, pick up my loop again, then cut your yarn. So first cut your yarn, open up this thread, and I'm going to just put this on my needle again. There you go. What we're now going to do is we're not going to go through the double crochet itself like we've done with the slip stitch join, but you're going to go through the treble. So go through the treble and then come back and insert your hook from the top through the last double crochet you worked, so on the previous corner, that is. Oh, sorry, this thread's in the way, so through there. So you're making a new top of the standing stitch. You see, so this loop I've just created is the new hat of the standing stitch, so that's the new stitch. You can just pull that tight. There you go, and work away this yarn tail. To make your work most neat, you actually unpick this knot here, so the knot from the slip stitch. You unpick that, and then you have a nice stitch here for the invisible join. So those are two options that are always available to you, a slip stitch or an invisible join. This is round 3. We're now going to continue with round 4, and then we're using color 1 again. Round 4, I have a slip knot on my hook again, and we're going to start in any chain 2 corner space and make a granny corner. That means we're going to do exactly the same as the white corner that we did here from the previous round. We're going to do exactly the same. So it's yarn over to start with a double crochet, in this case a standing double. So we're going to do exactly the same. And yarn over twice for a treble, and the treble this time is going to be in the corner space from round 2. So in that space there. And again, make sure that you leave the chain 2 space from round 3 to the back. So that's a treble. And then work another double here in the chain 2 space to the back. Chain 2 and repeat the same idea. So a double in the chain 2 space from round 3, then a treble in the chain 2 space from round 2, so there, and then again come back up and work a treble in there. That's your corner. I'm going to do that on each corner. We're now going to skip these 3 stitches, those 3 white stitches, and then come to the space that's kind of in between here from round 2. We're going to work in between there. So what we're going to do is we're going to work in this kind of, it's not really a chain 1 space, but there's kind of this natural opening between those 2 groups. Going to work in there and in between space here between those 2 doubles, so also in there. Going to work a stitch. Let me show you. So first in this space here to the top there, work a double crochet. Now we're going to work a treble in between those 2 doubles from round 2, so that's twice over. So really in between there, and come up. Make sure to miss the stitches from round 3. Work a treble. And 3, oh dear. There we go. 3, and then come back up, and 1, 2. So that double is again in that space from round 3. I'm going to come now to the corner and work a corner here, and so this is your repeat. You've got the corner and these stitches here in the middle, so you're going to work a corner and those stitches in the middle. So this is a granny group, and that's a granny corner. So corner, a group, a corner, group, corner, and a group, and then you close on the first stitch with a slip stitch or an invisible join, whatever works for you. I'm just quickly going to show you the repeat again, and then you can work the rest of the edges without me. So in the corner space here, work a double, then twice over for the treble, which is again in between here. Oh dear, wait, I just dropped my yarn. Pick up the yarn, and 1, 2, 3. Then come back up. 1, 2. Chain 2. And again, double in the chain space here, work a treble, and you always have to really open up your work to really get in there, kind of have it chuck next to the other stitch, and then just help them become a bit tidy. It's a bit messy there, and then another double in the top chain 2 space. See, that's another corner. In the space between the groups here, work a double, twice over. The treble is between those 2 doubles from round 2. I'm going to just push my hook in there. So between those 2 there, and then 1, 2, 3 to take off the treble, and then work another double here at the top. There we go. So now I've done the repeat twice. Again, another corner and those group in the middle, a corner and a group in the middle that you still need to do, and then close here on this first stitch with a slip stitch or an invisible join. Then the next round we use the white color again. Round 5, I have, where is it here? The other way around. I have the white yarn on my hook with a slip knot, and we're going to start in any corner space, any chain 2 corner. And we're going to start there with a granny corner, exactly the same as all our corners before. Put the yarn over, then work a double crochet in that space. Yarn over twice for the treble, and the treble is then, if I just open it up in there, in the chain 2 space from 2 rows down, and then work the treble. So this corner we're going to be working quite a few of these over the next few rounds, and then another double crochet in the chain 2 space where we're at. Chain 2 and repeat, so another double, treble and double here in the top, yarn over twice, the treble in the chain 2 space, and be sure you don't grab any other stitches in the process. And then come back up and work a double in that chain 2 space at the top. So that's your new corner. Going to work the same corner on all 4. Now we're going to skip these 3 stitches. This is a granny group. We're going to skip that and work here in the space in between, in there. I'm going to work a double crochet in that space. And then come down, and we're going to work a treble around this treble from 2 rows down. So around that treble, I'm going to work a front post treble. And come back up and work a double crochet here in the back in that space. There we go. This is a granny group that you've just worked, that double, the front post treble and the double. You're going to work quite a few of those as well. So we're going to skip this group, so this is again a granny group. We're going to skip that and go here to this next space. That's that space there, and repeat what we've just done. So in that space work a double, yarn over twice, so a front post treble around the treble from 2 rows down, 2, 3, and then come back up and work the double. In the corner we're going to work a new corner, so we're going to skip that granny group again, and here work a new corner. It's going to be a double twice over, in there work a treble again. Just going to go a little faster, and in the chain 2 space at the top work a double. Chain 2 and another double, yarn over twice, and here work a treble and another double at the top. In this corner you're going to start feeling really familiar with this corner. So now you're going to come down the next edge and do exactly the same as we've just done there. In this space work a double, come down and work a front post treble. So if I just turn my work, so here work a double, front post treble around that treble, and another double here at the top. Do the same in this group. Here in your corner you work in your corner. You're going to go like this all the way around, and after this last granny group here, you're going to close on your first stitch with a slip stitch or an invisible join. So go all the way around, and then the next round we have a color again, so you can cut your white yarn. Round 6. Round 6 is a repetition of round 5 using color 1. I'm not going to show this to you because it's exactly the same. In the corner you work a granny corner, then go to the next space, so that's that space, work a granny stitch around this treble here. So you're going to have color 1 trebles, you work around color 1. Go to this space here, work a granny treble around there. Go to this space and work the treble around that one, and then you're back to the corner where you're going to work a granny corner. So you're going to do exactly the same as round 5. The only difference is that you're going to have 3 granny groups instead of the 2 that we had here in the white. So you're going to have 3 of them. For me it's going to be in the yellow. This is your color 1 that you're using. So work a corner, 3 granny groups and a corner, go all the way around and then close on your first stitch. Round 7, you're going to work with the white yarn, and you're going to do exactly the same as in round 6 and in round 5. Work a granny corner in each of your 4 corners, and here in the spaces in between work a granny group where your double crochets are in the spaces and your trebles will be around the treble from the previous group 2 rows down. So you're going to match up the white with the white. So again, go all the way around and close on your first stitch with a slip stitch or an invisible join and use the white yarn. Round 8, again the same as round 7, but this time you're going to use color 2. For me it's this green color. So again, in your corners work a granny corner stitch, and then in the spaces work those granny stitches and work your trebles around the trebles from the granny stitch 2 rows down, which is that one there. And like I said, this time you're going to use color 2, so make sure you swap your colors. So a granny corner in all the corners, and in all the spaces work a granny stitch. And this time you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 granny stitches along the edge. Round 9 is different to all your other rounds, so don't go autopilot. This round is different. Color the white color on my hook with a slip knot. I'm going to start in any chain 2 corner space. Start in the corner with a single crochet, and now we're going to work a treble 2 rows down. So this is the same as the granny stitch, only we're doing a single crochet and not a double. So twice over, so work the treble in that row, in that chain 2 space 2 rows down, and then come back up and work a single again. Chain 1, that's important, chain 1, and then work another, I'm just going to move this up a bit, another single crochet twice over for another treble in that space 2 rows down. Two, 3, and then a last single crochet in that top chain space. There you go. That's your new corner. So single, treble, single, chain 1, single, treble, single. That's your corner. You're going to skip the first stitch. So we're now actually going to be working in the in our granny stitches. You're going to skip the first stitch. That's this one. And then work a single crochet in the next 2. So those are those 2 stitches. In there. It's 1 single. And go to the next. Another single. So that's 2 single crochets. I'm going to work a front post double crochet around this front post treble from round 7. Put the yarn over 1, so around here work a front post double. I'm going to skip a stitch to the back, so I'm going to skip that stitch, and then the next 2 work a single crochet. So 1 and 2. Again, work a front post double around this front post treble from 2 rows down. That's a front post double we're going to be working. And skip a stitch to the back again. I work 2 singles. 1 and 2. At this point you're in the middle of the square. So this is your center line here. We're now going to work a front post double 2 together over this. Let me just take out my hook. So we're going to work a front post double 2 together around this treble and that treble. So we're going to work these 2 together. So then making a nice little V. Put the yarn over. So a front post double crochet 2 together. Yeah. So yarn over. So this is the first treble. Take off 2 loops, then again yarn over, then come to this second treble and take off 2 loops. You have 4 loops on your hook, take them all off. You can see how you've now brought that together. We're going to skip a stitch, actually we're going to skip 3 stitches to the back. So that means this entire granny group that you've got to the back there, 1, 2, 3, you're going to skip all 3 of them. And then in the first of your next granny group, you're going to work a single crochet, and actually you're going to work 2, so there and also in the next one. So that's 1 and 2. Going to skip this stitch and then work a front post double around the treble here. Front post double around that. So then we're skipping that stitch to the back, and here on the first 2 again work a single crochet. So your second stitch here is the treble. One more group, again work a front post double around this one. So this is your last granny group that you're going to work a front post double around. Going to skip a stitch. Actually you're going to skip 2 stitches. See that you're going to skip 2 stitches. Then on your last 2 stitches going to work a single crochet. So that first one is on the treble and the second one here. Next up will be the corner. I'll just show you the corner again. It's going to be a single crochet. Just need a bit more yarn. Single crochet, then a treble, in the chain 2 space 2 rows down, another single crochet here at the top, chain 1, single, twice over for a treble, and another single here at the top. This corner is the same as the corner we started with. So at this edge, do this on your other 3 edges also, as well as your corners. And here after your last stitches, close on your first stitch with a slip stitch or an invisible join. Round 10, I have colored 2 on my hook with a slip knot, and we're going to start in any chain 1 corner space. Just open up your work. You'll see that's the single crochet. You'll see that little thread there. You need to go to the right from that. That's the actual chain space. There where my hook is in. That's where we're going to start. And we're going to start in there with a single crochet. That's going to start the corner immediately. This single crochet. Then a double crochet in the chain 2 space from 2 rows down. So I'm just going to open that up. So in that space here, work a double crochet. So usually we work a treble. Now you're going to work a double in there. Just make sure you don't nick anything else. Just stay that all the threads stay where they are. And then come back up and work another single crochet in that same space, which is, oh dear, let me just grab that back, which is there. I'm going to work another single crochet. There we go. And that's your corner, a single, this double and the single. That's your corner. Going to skip the first stitch, so that's going to be that stitch. Going to skip that and then work a single crochet in the next 2, so those 2, and the first here is then that treble. It's going to be your first. You're going to work a single, that's 1, and also in the next work a single. We're going to work a front post double around this front post treble. So that one there, you're going to work a front post double around that first treble. There you go. Skipping 2 stitches to the back, so 1, 2, skip. So I'm skipping 2 stitches, 1, 2, a single crochet in the next 2. You see here this first one is a treble. It's worked in a treble, so that's 1 and 2. I'm going to work a front post double around this front post here. So it's immediately this next stitch. Work a front post double around this one. So front post double. Then skip 1 stitch, only 1 stitch to the back. And work a single. And followed by another single. Again, going to work a front post double around this time this front post stitch here. After this front post double, we're going to work a front post half double, so half double around this 2 together, this double crochet 2 together. So around that stitch, so that entire front post stitch there, or the double 2 together, work a front post half double. These 3 loops, going to take them all off. Followed by a front post double around this stitch here. So this is the front post, I believe that's a front post treble. Work a front post double around. We're going to skip 3 stitches to the back. That's because we've just worked 3 stitches. So it's just their spaces. So let me do that. So this is the next stitch. So you're skipping 1, 2, 3 stitches, and then here work a single crochet. That's 1, and another one is 2. Won't surprise you. We're now going to work a front post double around this front post treble. Skipping a stitch to the back. So this is the next stitch to be worked on. So I'm skipping a stitch, work 2 single crochets. So it's 1 and 2. See that second stitch there is again in a front post double. Going to work another front post double around this last green, for me it's green then, color 2 front post stitch. So I'm going to work a front post double in there, or around it I should say. Then skipping 2 stitches to the back, a single crochet in the next 2. So that is 1 and 2. And you see here this second single crochet is again in a front post stitch. Chain 1. Remember this chain 1, insanely easy to forget. And then we're going to skip this last stitch, this last single crochet. And then we're at the chain corner space, and that's it. And again, that is the chain corner space. If you can't see, just really pull open your work. And there you see it emerging. There is the chain corner space. There. And that means a single crochet followed by a double, which is over here. I can just in the chain 2 space, a row down, and there we go, a double. And then come back up in that same chain 1 space. This is all just a little tight work a single crochet again. There we go. And this corner is the same as our starting corner. So this entire edge you're going to work 3 more times. So I just zoom out a little bit, you can see it a bit better. So we're going to work this 3 more times. I've just done this edge with you. You're now going to do this one, and this last edge. And then here you're going to work your last 2 single crochets, those 2. Then chain 1, remember that chain 1, and then close on the first stitch with a slip stitch or an invisible join. So take this row slowly, because there are just quite a few things happening in this round, and then I'll see you for the last round of part 1. Round 11, I have the white yarn on my hook again, and we're going to start in any corner, and your corner here is a single, that double there and a single. To start in the double, that's going to be your corner position, that double. We're starting in there with a single crochet, then chain 1. This chain 1 is actually your corner space, and what I'm just going to do is I'm going to mark this corner with a stitch marker, and that's just so that I can easily find it in the next round. I'm just going to, oh wait, here it is. Just going to hook a stitch marker around this chain 1 space, and then work another single crochet in that same double. There you go. So this here is my corner, that single, chain 1, single. For the straight edge, chain 1, this is another chain 1, not the corner, that's the corner. So chain 1, I'm going to skip the first stitch, that's going to be this single crochet here. I'm going to skip that, and then work a single in the stitch after. As you can see, I've skipped the first stitch, that stitch, and then work a single. A front post double around this front post treble here from round 9. Around this white front post treble we work a front post double, skipping 1 stitch to the back. I'm skipping 1 stitch to the back, single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So it's 1 and 2. See, the first of those 2 was a front post double there, the first one. Again, a front post double around this front post treble there, that white one. And then again skipping 1 stitch to the back. You're skipping 1 stitch to the back, work a single crochet in the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. Again, a front post double around this front post stitch there, that white one. Front post double around that, skipping a stitch to the back, then skipping a stitch, and then work 3 single crochets. 3. 1, 2, this second one here falls right in the middle, that's that front post half double, that's 2, and here this is 3. Okay. So now you're at the center of your work. Front post double around this front post stitch there, around the next, in this case from round 9. Front post double, skipping a stitch to the back, skip a stitch, and then 2 singles. So 1 and 2. Now your second stitch falls here in a front post stitch. Another front post double around this front post, And now you're going to skip 2 stitches to the back. So you're skipping 2 stitches, 1, 2, and work a single crochet in the next 2. And this, your first single is here in the front post. That's 1 and 2. Your last front post double is here around this treble. 1, 2, chain 1 as we go up to the corner. I'm going to skip the next stitch. That's going to be that single crochet there. And I have here the chain 1, the chain 1 you worked on the previous round. In that chain 1, work a single crochet in that chain 1. Then another chain 1. Then we're going to skip the first single crochet from these 3 corner stitches, then go to the double to work a corner, which is a single crochet, chain 1, which I'm just again going to mark just so that I can easily find my my next corner. Just going to mark that with a small stitch marker, and then work another single crochet in that double. So this here is my chain 2 corner, or chain 1 corner space. And if I just open up this corner here, it's exactly the same as that corner that we started with. I'm just going to zoom out and show you where we're at the moment. So this edge we've just made, and this is again just an edge that you should take slow, because there are many places to make mistakes with the skipping stitches and things. So repeat this edge on your other 3 edges also. And then here, when you've gone all the way around, remember you're going to do that last chain 1 and skipping the last single crochet, and then close on your first stitch. After you've completed the entire round, this is what your square looks like. You'll notice it does curl in a bit. When your blanket grows, this will flatten itself out, so don't worry too much about it. If you do worry about it, you are more than welcome to block your square at this point. But this brings us to the end of part 1. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon for part 2.